lose yourself in a good book. The Board Gosh Energy Book Club.
Now, if you have children and are eager to get them reading from a young age, then why not pop along to a book clinic? Book clinics are informal drop-in sessions for children and families who are looking for reading advice or indeed for book recommendations.
Here to tell us more and to answer some of your questions is children's literature enthusiast and the book doctor, the lovely Kim Hart, hence the white coat.
Hence the white coat, yes.
Okay, so you're going to answer our readers, our viewers rather, questions.
I shall certainly try to.
Okay, let's start straight away. But how young can you start them reading? As literally as soon as they're able?
Yeah, well, it's never too early to start reading to your child, and it's never too early to start giving them books. So board books, cloth books, bath books are all suitable for sort of 0 to 18 months, and always invest in a good nursery rhyme collection as well, and start reading to them right from the very beginning and instilling that love of books in them right from the start.
Okay.
And then between the ages of sort of 3 and 5, they'll start to decode words in print, so they'll have a bit of familiarity with sort of basic words. And then between the ages of 5 and 8 typically is when children become sort of fluent readers.
Okay, well, on that note, Catherine from Cork says, what books would you recommend from children who are just starting to read?
Okay, so for children who are just starting to read, and this is a very exciting and quite challenging age, I suppose, you want to find books that have sort of minimal text or rhyming text, as in the Dr. Seuss books. Oh. The Dr. Seuss books are fantastic, and they've helped generations of children to start to read.
It's great that they're still as popular as ever, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And they have that rhyming text, the repetitive text that sort of has the same sounds. Children become very familiar with them quickly. So you have the Cat in the Hat and Fox and Socks and Green Eggs and Ham would be sort of some of the favourites.
The Lorax and...
Yeah, there's loads of those.
Here's a Who, etc., etc.
Yeah, and really distinctive illustrations in those as well.
The problem at the moment, Kim, is that all of those have been turned into very good animations.
They have.
And that's for that can be
You're
a shortcut.
Competing for attention, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd always advise sort of adults and children to, if they want to see the film, read the book first.
Here, Kim.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the books are just wonderful. I'd also recommend Elephant and Piggy by Mo Willems. This is a fantastic series for early readers. That's all done in dialogue. So all the text is in speech bubbles. So you could take one character and have the child take the other character and can almost make a play out of it. So you're sort of really bringing the characters to life. So they're excellent.
It is fun to read to kids and do voices. They love that.
It is.
You can dramatise what you're reading.
Yeah, and humour is really important in books at that age. I mean, if they're laughing and they're having a good time, they will want to do it. It's always important that reading
What's
is fun.
What's the Claude series, Kim?
The Claude series is
I'm
this
not familiar
one here.
with that at all, yeah.
These are wonderful books. There's a series of these. They're by Alex T. Smith. And they're about this plump little fellow here. His name is Claude, and this is his best friend, Sir Bobbly Sock, who is a Bobbly Sock. And they go off on their various adventures together. So in this one, they go to the city, and sort of like really beautifully sort of stylish illustrations and sort of very minimal text, as you can see there. Very chic. Yes, that's a fantastic series, and both boys and girls really love those.
Okay.
As they gain confidence, then you can move them on to chapter books that have more text, and I'd say sort of still keep illustrations throughout. So The Worst Witch. These were originally published in the 70s.
I was about to say, I remember The Worst Witch.
They're absolutely
wonderful. It's a testament to how great books like that are in Dr. Seuss, that they are still now favoured by parents to introduce their children to reading.
Absolutely. There's something really timeless and still very relevant about them. They still really have that appeal. So these are about Mildred Hubble and her adventures at Miss Cackle's Academy for Witches. And she's a trainee witch, but she's really not very good at it.
She was really doing Harry Potter before Harry Potter did it. Yeah, let's be honest.
Really
Poor old Jill.
Poor old Jill.
Oliver and the Sea Weeks as well is another one that you'd recommend.
Yeah, I love this one. And this is one I'd recommend for sort of children who are sort of gaining confidence in reading, so sort of 7, 8 plus. Again, they're short chapters. It's illustrated throughout. Quite a bit more text than you'd find in, say, Dr. Seuss or Claude, but you want to introduce a challenge as they start to gain more confidence.
Okay.
Right. For books for children who like mystery.
Yeah, so say a lot of children would sort of read The Secret Seven and love a good mystery. Who doesn't love a good puzzle? And children they do tend to read quite intensely and have a really keen eye for detail. So I think puzzle books and mystery books really do appeal to them.
And The Secret Seven and The Famous Five and The Hardy Boys, that's all still popular.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, and they're reinvigorating and rejacketing them all the time to sort of present them to a newer generation. So yeah, they're really still going strong. I would have thought they would have seemed maybe very old-fashioned to children nowadays.
Yeah,
to us maybe, but there's still something sort of really appealing to children. It's summertime and adventures and sort of having jolly japes with your friends and that kind of thing.
Well, there's something
ginger beer and cupcakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right, and you've that bracket.
When You Reach Me by Rebecca Stead actually is an excellent mystery story. It kind of straddles, I suppose, fantasy and mystery. There's a lot going on in that book, but essentially it's a very clever, well thought out puzzle. It won the Newbery Award in the US, which is the most prestigious prize for children's books in the US.
Wild Boy by Rob Lloyd-Jones.
Yeah, that's published by Walker Books last year. A really unusual one. It's a little bit like Sherlock Holmes but with hair. Wild Boy is this young fellow who's completely covered head to toe in hair. It's Victorian times in London, and he's basically sold into a freak show as sort of an attraction there. But what comes out of it is this hugely sort of intriguing mystery, sort of very much in the sort of Sherlock Holmes kind of tradition. Yeah, it's a great one, quite an unusual one. Yeah.
Now, speaking of fantasy, you were saying When You Reach Me kind of crosses mystery and fantasy. Adventure and fantasy. Children cannot get enough of adventure and fantasy.
Absolutely.
So what would you recommend for children who are interested in those two topics?
One of my favourite adventure books would be Journey to the River Sea by Eva Ibbotson.
I know Eva Ibbotson, yeah.
It's a really wonderful, wonderful book about a girl called Maya who's an orphan, and she goes to move with distant relatives in the Brazilian rainforest.
Has this been made into a film?
I'm not sure. I'll have to confer with my fellow book doctor on
that.
Yeah, but the wonderful thing about that book is when you finish reading it, you almost feel like you've been to the Amazon and you feel like you've been there with her. It's such an evocative book.
Fantastic.
Wonderful, wonderful one.
And Charms Life by Diana Wynne-Jones.
Yeah, so I suppose, again, this is kind of a blend of adventure and fantasy. And we very much have a strong appeal with Harry Potter readers. It's about two siblings, a brother and a sister, Gwendolyn and Eric. And Gwendolyn is a very, very strong witch, and they're orphaned when there's an accident at sea and both their parents die. And Eric holds on to Gwendolyn.
The basis for any good children's book, remove the parents from the equation.
Absolutely.
Kim, there's going to be a book clinic coming up shortly.
Yes,
the 18th
Dublin
of May.
Writers Festival are hosting us for a book clinic on the 18th of May.
Where's that?
From 12:15 to 2:30 in the Ark in Temple Bar. So drop in and we'll get you a reading prescription that's tailored to your
Are there
child's
book clinics all over the
interests.
country?
Yes, yes.
Where
we
can
have
you get
one
details of them?
on the Children's Books Ireland website. It's children'sbooksireland.ie.
It's a great idea, because often parents, maybe if they weren't brought up reading books themselves, they wouldn't know what to offer their children. So it's wonderful to offer.
There you go, Dr. Kim Possible Heart.
There we go.
I love Kim Possible.
Oh, she's brilliant.
She's fantastic, great role model for young girls. Thank you very much, Kim. Pleasure.
Right, to mark the bicentenary of the publication, the book club choice for May is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. If you'd like to be in with a chance of winning a book club goodie bag and versus tablet, then send us your reviews. They can be of no more than 50 words. You need to get them to us by Friday, May 30th.
I'm so happy it's Mansfield Park. You can email them to irelandm@tv3.ie or post them to Bord Gáis Energy Book Club, TV3 at Westgate Business Park, Ballymount, Dublin 24.
Lose yourself in a good book. The Bord Gáis Energy Book Club.